Yeah, I am really not the YouTube wannabe, but here we are. After 3 channels burned exposing birth certificates, um, but now I'm back for now because I'm not sure how long they'll allow this information to stay here on YouTube, but we shall see. And I'm going to simplify this for you people. Again, you listen to some of my previous videos. I could care less if you like or subscribe. Um, it just that's not what I'm here for. I'm not banking on any of these videos. None of this shit is monetized. I am not trying to provide wealth for myself in doing this. I'm doing this because I despise the money changers. I despise the private bankers that have entrapped us and are destroying the world around us. That is why I do this. The same people that destroyed the 2 buildings that you're staring at on the screen right now. Remember, in 1999, the birth certificates were supposed to end. Russell J. Gould, the postmaster, but he never told you what I'm about to tell you and share with you. It never dawned on him, I guess. The only person I can thank for that is Douglas Joseph Herrick, who pointed out that file date to me, and then the light bulb went off in my head, and then, well, he thought he was set free by the passport. And I said, well, that's an all caps name on there. That's that Justinian dog Latin, not English name on there. That's a legal name. No, it's not. Oh, yeah, it is, man. And of course, quick call to the State Department, which there's a live feed on the Facebook page you're about to see. And you can scroll in there somewhere and find it and listen to it. And they, oh, yeah, that's a legal name on the passport. And where did the legal name come from? Well, they tried to say the driver's license. And of course, I said, well, you're telling me the driver's license is creating legal names? No. From the birth certificate. Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner. Winner, chicken dinner. So, I'm going to take my time with this here because I just did a rant before this one. And I'll make it crystal clear to you. Nowhere where there is a legal name should we be commingling our date of birth. And if you simply take the birth certificate or certificate of live birth, hopefully you have both that you're a holder of. It doesn't mean it's yours. You don't own it, and it's not yours. It's not your name. When a cop says, what's your name? And he will instantly convert your name into that all capital slave name created by the state of subcorporation under the United States Incorporated, tied to London State and the Vatican, who has copyright on all the legal names. I mean, this is pretty well-known information at this point. And, and I know everyone's growing at their own pace. But here comes the simplest, quickest separation from legal names ever to raise its head in this legal name game. It's the file date. And that file date, and that's the date that's associated on a Colby, the certificate of live birth, with a wet ink signature. Well, that wet ink signature associated with that file date is your prima facie evidence that, wait a minute, the legal name didn't come into play. And normally, in most cases, it's 3 to 10 days after you were born. In my case, it was 10 days. I'm 17, and the organization name didn't come into play until the 27th. So between the 17th and the 27th, I was a free man, a free baby, man. Listen, there's nothing good coming from us playing games with the legal name. There's nothing good coming from trying to maneuver using these legal names and getting to the Federal Reserve window. Remember, the Federal Reserve has got to go. Republican Massey has a bill forward right now to end the Fed. Another Ron Paul. We'll see how long he lives. That's really what's in question here. But here's the deal. For Brian over there, here's the deal. Well, my brand new Indiana birth certificate doesn't have a file date. And I told him, well, why don't you let me see a copy of it, and I'll point it out for you. But he doesn't have the balls to do that. He just wants to keep going on with all the symptoms of these legal names. And remember, when a cop comes and asks you what your name is, it ain't your name he's looking for. That's why he wants that ID, because that ID is concrete joinder of you being a liar, volunteering your date of birth for the state of created legal name. This isn't a conspiracy. This is an absolute fact. And then, of course, you are instantly converted into the enemy under the Trading with the Enemy Act. That was a bill put forward by, you guessed it, maybe you didn't, the Federal Reserve. Now, why are the private fucking bankers putting forward bills to create enemies out of us? Oh, I know, no big deal, huh? Well, it's a bigger deal than you know, because that's why they treat you like the enemy, because you are the enemy. And worst off is every man and woman wearing a uniform is in the same exact boat as us, tying their legal name, tying their date of birth to the state of created legal name, making them a part of the Liars Club. But they're getting paid to be a part of the Liars Club. We aren't getting paid. And any benefit we're getting, well, good gosh, they got to crawl right up your rear end and know every damn little thing about you. You have to be absolutely impoverished to get a benefit from that legal name. That's the way they've set this up. And I'm going to try to take my time here and point all this stuff out. The passport is a legal name. And if you got your date of birth with that legal name, you are in dishonor. This whole system's about being in honor. You got to stay in honor. Well, how can you be in honor commingling your date of birth with a legal name that wasn't created the day you were born? I'll be waiting. Y'all jump in the comment section down there and get busy. And I'll be waiting. But you're going to have a real tough time, because there's no way you can prove it. I can prove what I'm saying. You can prove what I'm saying by simply taking a hard, long look at what you have going on there. This is in-game, people. And here's the thing. This file date being put in its proper perspective, okay, when I corrected it with the credit repository, or bureau as commonly called, it reverted the debt to perfect payment history, because it reverted the debt to the proper debtor, which is the United States Corporation. The United States is the one who's responsible for all of the debt under the Chapter 11 reorganization of the bankruptcy. Ding, 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 ding. There should be no more or no less than us and our signature and that file date to send the debt off to be what? Credited at the Federal Reserve window. Same thing with mortgages, car loans, phone company, everybody that's got your Social Security or the Social Security number. It's not ours either. It doesn't belong to us. It's not our Social Security number. We're just the holder of it for benefits. That's what it's supposed to be. But boy, they opened up the window and just are robbing it blind from every direction you can possibly think of. Every corporation that's risen up around the Federal Reserve are all reaching their hand in that cookie jar called the Social Insurance, the Social Security. That was a creation of the Federal Reserve. And see, the only way you're getting a benefit is if you're in absolute poverty. And still then, they will not give you enough, which amounts to getting breadcrumbs from your own bakery. That's really what it amounts to. But that's why you have millions of men, women, and sons and daughters out in the street right now, because there is no benefit to that legal name for them. You have given these people absolute control over everything. And y'all think because you get a check for $1,500 that somehow you're getting somewhere. And remember, for people who are completely impoverished by the Federal Reserve, who wait a minute, is responsible for the inflation and deflation, for robbing the gold, for creating a bill making enemies out of U.S. citizens, which a U.S. citizen is that legal name that you're tying your date of birth to. I hope I'm making sense for you here, people. But bigger than all that, once enough people come to terms with DMV is forced to use the file date that works in conjunction with the legal name, the correct date to commingle with the legal name, well, they can't claim some boogeyman thing, because it's still going to tie back to the man that was born on the birth certificate. I hope I'm making sense here for you, people. See, all y'all wanting to do all this UCC crap. Well, look, that's what happened to your Article 3 courts. They all turned into UCC courts of contract. Why? Because they wanted to get their hand in the cookie jar. They want to manage the estate and not for your benefit. And when you're volunteering your date of birth for their legal name, you are a liar. That's why the administrator will send you to the nut house. I'm not the name. I'm a free man. I got blood flowing and I got hands and feet. And according to the UCC document that you see up there, every man with hands and legs is considered a human resource. And why would that be? How is that? How do they have you volunteering? I'm telling you how they have you volunteering, but I'm going to say it again. They have you volunteering your date of birth in dishonor for their legal name, and they're allowing it. See, now that the cat's out of the bag, it's back on them, because I went to the DMV. There's a live feed on the Facebook page I'm about to show you. You can go listen to my conversation with them, and they go, no, it's the Homeland Security tells us we have to do this. Oh, well, so the Nazis tell you that we have to be liars down here at the DMV in order to get a license for commerce, because otherwise we shouldn't need one. But the problem you run into is you go to take your son or daughter to the doctor and they want an ID. Or we're not going to serve you. That just happened with my son the other day. We're not going to give him the medical attention he needs if you don't provide us with an ID. Let that sink in, folks. Why would when I took them to the emergency room and they came in and wanted to start asking questions, they wanted to know if I was a U.S. citizen. Then they wanted a Social Security number, because everything gets paid from the Social Security Trust. That was created by the Federal Reserve. 3 things the Federal Reserve wanted to control: printing of money, industrial relations, and the biggest one of all, trust. Don't believe me? Go read the Intimate Papers of Mendel House. Go read as much as I've read to get to the point where I'm at right now. If it wasn't for Douglas Joseph Herrick sharing this with me, I wouldn't be able to share it with you. And now that I'm sharing it with you, it's yours. You have it. Freely I was given, freely I give. The whole reason he shared it with me is because he saw that I would not sell knowledge. No, I'm just not going to be involved with trying to enrich myself off something that should have never existed in our lives in the first place. Let's get to that point. Can we have that conversation? Is anybody out there mature enough to have the conversation about all of the things that should have never existed in our lives that are destroying the world around us? Yeah. Oh, ooh, ah, oh, ah, oh. About all the symptoms, with people getting views and likes and subscribe, and I bring my next, ooh, ah, oh my God. Oh, I can't believe that. Audience to their YouTube channels, to their TikTokers, to their whatever. Not that this information would probably gain you a lot of notoriety out there in the corporate world, because the corporate world works against you. That's why they're putting poison in all the foods. That's what the whole pandemic was about. Get rid of you. We don't need you no more. But most of all, it's about commingling your date of birth with a legal name that wasn't created the day you were born. I don't know how many times I can say this to get people's attention. Let me share something with you guys. We're just going to do an entire screen share here. Let me shut some other tabs down that just don't need to be open. And we'll get right on this. All right, let's share that. No. Why is that? And, entire screen. Oh, it's wanting to share the wrong screen. Can you believe that shit? You have got to be kidding me. Hold on, we'll get this. We'll get this right. All right. Boom, down the rabbit hole. That's what happens. You end up down the rabbit hole. I don't know how to stop that. I don't know how to stop this down the rabbit hole thing. I wonder if this just Facebook wanting to be hard to get along with. But here we got somebody in the secured party creditors. Ellen Stone says, okay, so I made my second attempt to get my driver's license, and I signed one line my name with UCC 1-308, and they denied my application. Of course they did, because the DMV is the front line, the nexus with the state. This is where they get their jurisdiction. I don't care what anybody wants to argue. I mean, they've got, wait a minute, case law on the fact that the nexus with the state, the jurisdiction that the prosecutor has to come after you and charge you like a credit card, he better have a driver's license or a state ID over there in his folder. So y'all with your, I'm challenging jurisdiction, you can't move forward. Who are you challenging jurisdiction to? See, that's what people fail to point out. And the prosecutor is the one bringing the charges against you, not the administrator. So the administrator's over there like, oh, you must be some crazy man, because you're over there giving me a name and a date of birth. That pretty much sounds like you're giving the legal name with your date of birth. You must be crazy. You must be insane. I'll send you for incompetence evaluation. Not to mention all the lawyers that aren't pointing this out to us. They're really in the hot seat. I'm going to tell you right now, they're in the hottest seat of all seats. Because if you hire a lawyer or you have a public defender and they fail to point out that, wait a minute, your date of birth doesn't go with this organization name. Oh, they're not going to tell you that, are they? Because wait a minute, they're on the other side. They're not on your side. They're there to get you to plead. Because I can tell you, when I informed the clerk of the court that, oh, my bad, I was giving you the wrong date for the legal name and sending in an email, it ain't want nothing to do with me no more. Your case is dropped. Well, of course it is, because it's got nothing to do with me. Oh, and there's no injured party. That's the biggest one of all. You go out injuring people, you're going to get your butt thrown in a cage where you should be. That's the only thing the cage should be being used for. It shouldn't be used for, you got the wrong tag, your tag's expired, or, actually, that's where we're at in this messed up name game. That this is the point that we're at as being enemies of the state on Trading with the Enemy Act, which is a bill put forward by the Federal Reserve. Do your own research, people. Don't believe what I'm telling you. Go look it up for yourself. So that way, you can't say, he said, she said. Because he said, she said doesn't matter. I'm telling you. Go look at the Rod Class gun case. And even, look, here's the thing. I haven't heard from Rod Class. I put enough of this on Yusuf L's Facebook group that I would have thought he might like reached out and said, well, this file date. Yeah, the file date, man. The proper date to commingle with the legal name that still ties back to the man or woman, but doesn't put us in the surety or debtor seat. That's how simple this is. And that's why it scares the bejesus out of them. Because it's the truth. And they don't want us telling the truth. They want the masses telling lies to be in commerce. That means your passport, Social Security, driver's license, fishing license, hunting license, all of this business that's going on. Because, hey, man, You can create all the debt you want as long as it's pushed off to the proper debtor, which is the United States corporation people under the Chapter 11 bankruptcy, under the reorganization. They know it. I know it. And now you know it. If you just put your thinking cap on for a minute, pull out that birth certificate, take a hard, long look at that file date, and try to convince yourself that that organization name was created the day you were born. They do not want people to know this. I mean, I received death threats, very subtle death threats. And guess what? Here I am. Because instead of just, here, man, why don't you take your black card, go have a nice day. Go fire up a business, create jobs, do something constructive. No, they decided to try to flip my life upside down again, which they did. They flipped my life upside down again. Stony Allen Bearden is one man that cannot be trusted by anyone. He's a constable in Tennessee. He's a diehard racist. If you're a man or woman of color, he hates you just because of the color of your skin. And I can say that with full confidence because I've heard it come out of his lips so many times. It just makes me sick to my stomach. But he was sure impressed with the file date when it was shared with me, and I started sharing it with him and the people that he's known that have been on this journey for a long, long time, and it answered so many questions for them. It was crazy days. So the only thing they know how to do is just keep trying to make my life as hard as they possibly can and try to turn people against me as I share this truth out with you. And I just can't say it enough. Prove to me that the legal name was created the day you were born. I've sent this stuff out to a lot of people. I sent this information out to Tucker Carlson and Dan Bongino, and of course, no answer back, and they were let go from Fox 2 days later. So I don't know if, they didn't want them to get their email. They didn't want them getting that information, because I've heard Tucker Carlson talk about just the truth is what's important. And here's the thing. You got Donald Trump going into their administrative tribunals with a legal name that has his date of birth tied to it, when simply all he has to do is point out the fact that, oh, no, wait a minute. That's the wrong date. My date of birth doesn't commingle with the legal name. It wasn't created the day I was born. We're talking one of the biggest facades going on in the country today over the corporate CEO of US Inc., who's going to be the next corporate executive officer, Your Excellency, of the United States corporation. That, again, should not have existed in our lives in the first place. So, you're really going to have to start coming together and start concentrating on this file date. It's that simple. See, this put the gurus out of work, so they don't want to talk about it. The gurus damn sure don't want to talk about it, because there's nothing more to know than that file date. And all you have to do is see it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And if you can't see it, you are dumber than a fucking box of rocks. That's all I got. Or you're in denial. Or you're part of the problem and not part of the solution. You want the madness to continue. You need to make your living off your views and subscribers to all the symptoms that are being created by these legal names. All the suffering. All the death. All the destruction. Because that is who you are. And you don't want to be anything different. You don't want to have to go get a real job. You don't want to have to work hard and pay your actual bills. You just want to learn that it's a statement and that you can get it sent off to the Federal Reserve window. No. When you apply for lights, phone, car loans, mortgages, any of these things that are necessities, you should simply be able to use the file date in conjunction with the legal name, and that debt gets shot off to the United States Corporation Federal Reserve window. Bye-bye. I don't care. But the bankers don't want you to know this, and they damn sure don't want to let us get this correction made. If the DMV is pointing me to the Homeland Security, telling me they're the ones telling them what date of birth they have to use, even though at the counter, the supervisor at the DMV says, yeah, I see what you're showing me. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, wow. Go listen to the recording on my Facebook page. You know. This one right here. I'm not sure this thing keeps shooting down the rabbit hole. Ooh. Okay, only when I guess I click on that, onto that. They can't claim boogeyman. You don't have to tear the entire system down. This just simply removes you from the debtor position. Because remember, you is a debtor of the United States. And what's the cop saying? Is this you? Is this your ID? Is that you? Is this your name? What's the administrator over there in the court doing? What's your name? Are we really dealing with my name here? Or are we dealing with your name? Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. You see how simple this is, people? It's so simple, it's stupid. This is the KISS business advertisement of how to separate yourself from the legal name. And the first step is the correcting with the credit bureaus, credit repositories. They're actually repositories, but the credit bureau that's tied to the Social Security number. And for all y'all with the child support, TransUnion through the state reports all their crap to. Look, they flipped my life upside down, and then they killed my soulmate. So now here I am caring for my special needs son and my lovely 3-year-old daughter, both of who are not registered to the Crown. What did I have to do? Finally, my savings was wiped out so quickly, it just wasn't even funny. And I'm unable to work because I'm going to care for him, and I'm going to care for her because I'm not sending them to the Rockefeller Indoctrination School under the watchful eye of some pedophiles or some group that wants to convert my daughter into a boy, and my son, God knows what they want to do to him. He can't tell me what would be going on with him in the first place. It's just not going to happen. So I am saddled with the responsibility of taking care of these 2 babies. And I don't know when I'm going to run out of road. And when I run out of road, what's going to happen to my babies? Because here these fucking people want to create roadblocks to telling the truth, to correcting, or you can just starve and give your babies up to the state. I'm going to tell any one of you, throw away all your IDs, throw away your birth certificates, and go out there and see what the world has to offer you. It should tell you all you need to know. You know, in my research, I found out that they were going into the homeless camps, collecting all that personal information, telling them how they were going to get them help. And then they were never seen again. They got the legal names, date of birth from the wrong date of birth, the dishonorable date of birth, the commingling of the date of birth with the legal name, and Social Security numbers. And then they were never seen again. There was no help provided. But what are they doing with all that personal information, people? The same thing the telephone company and the corporations and the medical. The hospitals are the ones that are involved in this. The same people that were involved in murdering people with respirators and all their allopathy crap. Rockefeller medicine. More Federal Reserve. More central bankers. More private bankers. Who are just having a blast, killing us off. Well, we all want to do a UCC1 financing statement, and we're going to create a trust, and we're going to, dead is dead. As they spray the skies and fluoride the water, allow the corporations to pump poison into the food, destroy the food chain, the food manufacturer. I mean, it's mind-boggling the amount of food processors that have been destroyed in North America, because North America is the target. because the rest of the world hates us, and for good reason. No central bank? Hey, we'll be right there in just a minute to kill you. Look what they did to Gaddafi, man. And he was so good to his people. Yeah, I'm sure everything wasn't perfect, but damn, man. How many of you have looked at what Gaddafi was doing for his people? And I assure you, you would really wish they were doing that here, because, wait a minute, all of the wealth that's being pulled out of the ground here in North America, why aren't we getting a check? Oh, because you're the enemy, and because you're in dishonor, and because you're registered and you're volunteering your date of birth for that which was not created the day you were born. And this isn't for stupid people. Stupid people will never get this. They don't even know there's a legal name that exists. They don't even know what I'm talking about. Organization name. But boy, when that cop pulls him over, I need your legal name. Really? Legal is the undoing of God's law. So when you're down there at your corner store, worship center, and your pastor has a driver's license with his date of birth tied to that legal name, guess what? I wouldn't let him baptize me. He's a liar. Happily caught in his lie, whether he knows it or not. And ignorance is no excuse. Somebody please tell Donnie Trump to stop giving his date of birth for a legal name that wasn't created the day he was born. Can somebody please let the man know? I mean, if he wants to be His Excellency, if he wants to be the next corporate executive officer over the corporation that shouldn't exist, which he should have shut down when he was in there, if he was really draining the swamp, to be like, this corporation is dissolved, and now we can have an actual organic election of whoever the best guy is, not the best one selected for the Federal Reserve. Wait a minute, but what did he do? He signed trillions with a T, with Mnuchin standing over him with his shit-eating grin, with his big old Coke bottle glasses. This is why they want me dead, people. They want me dead so bad. They want me to do it to myself. And yeah, no, not happening. Here I am blasting this on YouTube, and where's Elon? Where's Elon Musk? Where you at, man? Where you at? Where you at, Elon? Are you aware that you're giving your date of birth for a legal name that wasn't created the day you were born? Come on, man. You're the richest, one of the richest men in the world. And you ain't got this figured out, and it's right here on your own platform? Somebody must be keeping something from you, man. Because that's what we found out. That's what I find out. I find out that they just keep this stuff from people. And no, of course, they're not going to let you reserve any rights on their nexus with the state over there at the DMV. But as soon as enough of us pay attention to this one simple mistake that they have us all making, the quicker this, trust me, they'll end the Chapter 11 bankruptcy so fast your head will spin. Where's Republican Massey about the legal names? Yeah, we shut down the Federal Reserve. Well, let's go ahead and expose the legal names that were created by the Federal Reserve. Let's go ahead and expose the Trading with the Enemy Act like McFadden did. Oh, he ended up dead too. Or like Kennedy did. Oh, he ended up dead too. Or like James Trafficking did. Oh, he ended up dead too. Eustace Mullins. Yeah, he ended up dead too. Now, how many people have to end up dead exposing what I'm talking about before y'all start paying attention? And now you got prima facie evidence that shows my date of birth should not be commingled with a legal name. That's perjury. If I'm going to sign that the information is true and correct under the penalty of perjury, if I'm going to walk into a court of UCC contracts, law, which is not law. It is not law. You know, you get in law, at law bullshit. I don't want to hear anything about it. It's this simple. How many of you have noticed the clerk of the court that, oops, sorry, my mistake, I'm giving you the wrong date of birth for the legal name? How many of you? You want quick resolve to your problems. Oh, and get over to that credit file and get that corrected. It's tied to the Social Security number, and watch what happens. Where's the debt going to go now? It's got the right date with the legal name. Who's going to get the debt now? You know, this is about setting all of us free. Not just some of us, not just a few of us, not just enough of us that can afford to go to some guru's class to learn for the next 19 years on how to maneuver something that shouldn't have existed in our lives in the first place. I cannot express that enough, because that's really my final line in this, especially when I got on my journey because of the tragedy that was inflicted on my life and the lives of my son. And they look at me like I got three heads, and they still look at me like I got three heads. And I say, well, let me ask you, how did the child support get reverted to exceptional payment history? And what happened when I doubled down on the Department of Revenue and asked them who was making payments back in December of 21? And where's the wedding signature for this alleged loan? Or you can choose just to remove it from the record like it never existed. They took the remove it from the record like it never existed. I have the proof. I'm surprised they haven't hit me with a cruise missile. I think they thought when Stony Allen Bearden flipped my life upside down over there that I wouldn't walk away with that evidence. I mean, the evidence that I have is so damaging to this legal name that it cannot. It just can't be understated. You want to overstand something? Overstand that your date of birth should never be commingled with that legal name. And start taking a stand in your communities. Not to mention the fact that they should not be allowed to create securities down at the hospital without a security license. Gary Gensler, where the hell are you, Gary? Gary, you're worried about XRP. How about the securities being created down at the hospital with no license, Gary? Going to do your job there, Gensler? That's the whole reason why they have Know Your Customer with crypto now, because you have to hold that legal name up next to your face and send them a video at sometimes, but a picture of you holding that disgusting, dirty, enemy of the state legal name up next to your mug in order to access exchanges. And what happens when someone does that? You just effectively gave your crypto away. You just gave total control to the U.S. corporation over the crypto that you're invested in. Don't think so? Why were they able to shut down Robinhood? Why do the exchanges go down every time the market pumps on the crypto side? Oh, well, this is just a fluke. They couldn't handle the traffic. Because you all are in dishonor, giving your date of birth for the legal name that you're signed up on the exchange with. This is the whole reason why all the pressure was put on the exchanges, and any exchange that doesn't have KYC, why your U.S. slave ass is not allowed to access it. Sorry, we can't do business with you. You're a U.S. slave. You're a slave citizen. It's a U.S. citizen only exists on paper. How is a man a U.S. citizen? How is a woman a U.S. citizen? How are our sons and daughters U.S. citizens? That shouldn't even be able to be on the application. And anywhere it is on the application, they may as well just put, "Are you an enemy of the state under the Trading with the Enemy Act? Are you an enemy?" It's mind-boggling to me, the absolute greed, whether it's on the lawyer side or the gurus over here wanting you to come to my class. It's only $55 an hour, $100 a head. We'll show you what's going on. Here I am freely sharing with you what's really going on and why the gurus don't want to talk about that file date. They don't want to talk about the fact that legal name wasn't created the day you were born. They just don't want to talk. No, I don't want to talk about that. That ruins my business. That just ruins it all. So keep in mind, everything all y'all are out there doing, still commingling your date of birth with a legal name, you're still completely fucked. They're not going to tell you that. They're going to let you think you're winning. What better way to keep the slaves on the plantation than to make them think they're free? to make them think they're winning. Like at the casino. Got to show some winners. But man, we're not going to show you all the losers because you'd probably walk out the door and go, nah, I'm not playing no more. Y'all have a great day. I'm out of here.